யார்வேனா ஆரம்பிங்க பிரேயர்.
शुक्लां वरदरं विष्णु शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुविष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। स्तुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्य केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतं वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। अपार करुणामूर्तिं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखर गुरुं ध्यायामि अहर्निशम्। ओके। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुदं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनामधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषामहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नमः शिवाय इति शिवं प्रपद्ये शिवप्रसीद इति शिवं प्रपद्ये शिवात् परं न इति शिवं प्रपद्ये शिवोऽहमस्मि इति शिवं प्रपद्ये। Say the Bhagavad Gita also, no? Bhagavad Gita Dhyana Slokam. Parthaya pratiboditam Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam Vyasena gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवत् गीते भगवत् वेशिणीम्। What is that? Last slokam. Yam Brahma dane. Am I right?
Ama.
Okay, sorry. Yam Brahma Varurendra Rudra Marutah Sunvanti Divyai Savaihi Vedai Sanga Padakramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita तेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यांतं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। नमस्कारम।
பகவத்கீதா ஈஸியா படிக்கிறதுக்கு வேண்டி ஹோல் 18 சாப்டர் இன்னைக்கு PDF அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கேன். இப்போ பிஃபோர் டே போத் இன் அரட்டை as well as the same. உங்களுக்கு படிக்கிறதுக்கு ஈஸியா இருக்கும். சான்ஸ்கிரிட் புக் இருந்தா பேஜ் மாத்தினே இருக்கும். ஓகே, ஸோ அஸ் யூஷுவல் ஆல்பபெட்டிக்கல்ல படங்கோ அண்ட் அதில் போட்டிருக்க மாதிரி நார்மலி தி கன்வென்ஷன் இஸ் வி ஸ்டார்ட் வித் அதில் கொடுத்துருக்க மேலே கொடுத்துருக்காங்க ஓம் ஸ்ரீ பரமாத்மனே நமஹா. தட் வில் பி தேர் ஆல் த டைம். இட் வில் பி ஸ்டார்டிங் வித் தட். அதுலேயே மேலே இருக்கு. அப்புறம் அத பிரதமோ அத்தியா அர்ஜுன விஷாத யோகம் படிச்சுட்டு அப்புறம் then we can go ahead with that. Maybe every one of you can read 2 slokas each.
प्रथमोऽध्यायः अर्जुन विषाद योगः। कर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत सञ्चय दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकं यूतं दुर्योधनस्तथा आचार्यमुपसङ्गम्य राजा वचनमब्रवीत्।
Okay. पश्यैतां पाण्डुपुत्राणाम् आचार्यमहतीं च मूं व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तव शिष्येण धीमता अत्र शूरा महेश्वासाः भीमार्जुनसमायुधि युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः। Pavitra can read.
Sumati padingo.
दृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित्कुन्तिभोजश्च शैबश्च नरपुङ्गवः युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्तः उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः।
உமாஜி நீங்க படிக்கிறீங்களா?
படிக்க முடியாது சொன்னால கொஞ்சம் முன்னாடி.
ஓ சாரி. ஓகே. अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तानि बोधत् विजोत्तम नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तां ब्रवीमि ते भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदित्तस्तथैव च
अन्ये च बहवः शूराः मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रकरणाः सर्वे युद्धविचारदाः अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितं पर्याप्तं विदमेतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्।
अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यदा भागमवस्थिता भीष्ममेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि तस्य सञ्जयन् हर्षिं कुरुवृत्तः पितामहः सिंहनादं पिनद्योचैः सङ्गं स्वस्मौ गता भवान्।
வசுமதிமா நீங்க படிக்கவே இல்லை, படிக்கணுமா?
நான் படிச்சேனே.
மியூட்லயே இருந்தேன், மியூட்லயே இருந்தேன். படிங்க, அடுத்தது ரெண்டு படிங்க.
படிச்சுட்டாலே ரெண்டு.
நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரெண்டு படிச்சேன்.
நான் தான் படிக்கணுமா? ஓகே. சதசங்கா அதுல இருந்தா படிக்கணுமா? கரெக்ட்.
ஆமா.
सतशङ्काश्च भैर्यश्च पणवानकगोमुखाः सहस्रैवाप्यहन्यन्त सशब्दतुमुलोऽभवत् ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्कौ प्रदद्मतुः।
पाञ्चजन्यं हृषीकेशः देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः पौण्ड्रं दद्मौ महाशङ्खं भीमकर्मो वृकोदरः अनन्तविजयं राजा कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सहदेवश्च सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ
काश्यश्च परमेश्वासः शिखण्ठी च महारथः दृष्ट्रद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्चापराजितः द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः शङ्खा दद्मुः पृथक् पृथक्
सकोशादादराशानां हृदयानि व्यधारयत् तवच्च पृथिवीं चैव तुमुलो वेणुनादयन् अदव्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा दार्धराष्ट्रान् कविध्वजः प्रवृत्ते अस्त्रसम्पादे धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः
ऋषिकेशं तदा भाग्य समाह महीपते अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेच्युतः यावदेतान् निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यमस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे
योत्स्यमानानवेक्षेऽहं यः वर्मा सारंग समागत योत्स्यमानान् अवेक्षेऽहं यः வருமா அந்த இடத்துல यः பிரிச்சு படிச்சா இல்லையா यः ओके एतेऽत्र समागताः दार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेः युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्तो ऋषिकेशः गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्
भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति तत्र पश्यन् स्थितान् पार्थः पितॄनत पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄः पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा
श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः सर्वान् बन्धूनवस्थितान् कृपया परयाविष्टो विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत् अर्जुन उवाच दृष्टवेमं स्वजनं कृष्णा युयुत्स दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सं समुपस्थितम्
सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति देवदुस्य शरीरे मे रोमहस्तच्च ध्यायते काण्डीवं संस्थते हस्तात् वक्षैव परिदक्ष्यते न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं प्रमदीव च मे मनः
निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयोनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किं नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा
यथा मर्ते काङ्क्षितं नः राज्यं भोगा सुखानि च स इमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणान् त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्याः पितरः पुत्रास्तथैव च पितामहाः मातुलाः श्वशुरा पौत्राः श्याला सम्बन्धिनस्तथा
एतान्न हन्तुमिच्छामि घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतोः किं नु महीकृते निहत्य दार्द्रराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीतिः स्याज्जनार्दन पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान् हत्वैतान् आततायिनः
तस्मान्नार्हा वयं हन्तुं दार्द्रराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव यद्यप्येते न पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम्
कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापादस्मान् निवर्तितुं कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रभस्यद्भिर्जनार्दन कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्मा सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृष्णम् अधर्मो विभवत्युत
अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रतुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु तुष्टासु वाग्नेषु जायते वर्णसङ्करः सङ्करो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च हदन्ति पितरो ह्येषां सप्पिण्डोदकक्रियाः
दोषैरेतैः कुलज्ञानां वर्णशङ्करकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्माः कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वताः उत्सन्नकुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासः भवतीत्यनुशुश्रुम
அது வரைக்கும் தான் படிச்சிருக்கோம். We have to proceed further. Okay. So இது வரைக்கும் படிச்சதுல யாருக்காவது எனிதிங் சந்தேகம் இருக்கா? See, basically the Shastra, whether it is Vedam with the Vedanta at the end and the Bhagavad Gita, which is talking about Karma Yoga and the Jnana Yoga, are very clear. There is always two conflicts are to be resolved to get the Atma Jnana. First is the conflict between Dharma and Adharma. Okay? That is, what is Dharma, what is Adharma? And within the Dharma, which are the Dharmas are predominant or more to be followed compared to another lower type of Dharma. This also one should be very clear. And the second thing is between the conclusion between Atma and Anatma. We take ourselves all at Anatma level, that is at the gross body, subtle body as ourselves, where the Shastra's vision is our real Swarupa is the Paramatma. Nothing but another name for Paramatma is Brahman, which is Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam, Jagat Karanam, Brahma. So these two are mixing up has taken place ought to be resolved. So in the first chapter, Vyasacharya is very clearly brings out the conflict in Arjuna as a context and resolving his Arjuna's conclusion with respect to what he has to do in this situation is the first set of topic. So in that we were looking at that dharma consists of so many divisions. The primary is the what dharmas which are all prescribed in the Veda. That we have seen. That is what I have given introduction to all of you. And what Veda prescribes are mainly two types of karmas or dharmas for any person in the Grihastha ashram. One set of this thing are the kamya karmas with the intention of getting some phalam, including some phalam in this loka as well as going to Swargadi, other places, for which the Veda itself very clearly prescribed what are the karmas or Vedic karmas ought to be followed. Other than that, there is a set of to be done karma that is called kartavyam karma, which ought to be necessarily to be done. Okay, that is also we have seen in detail that 41 samskara one has to undergo in one's life. Okay, those samskaras makes a person a prakrita purusha into a samskrita purusha, make him eligible for getting the atma jnana. Okay. So in the case of this samskaras, there comes the varna, ashrama, dharma also, which are prescribed by the Shastra itself, by Bhagavan himself. In the 4th chapter, Bhagavan himself is telling, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam. I have only made the four varna and 4 ashrama for a smooth living in the society. That being the case, the Veda also prescribed the karmas of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and the Shudra, and also depending upon the stages in the life as Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and the Sannyasi. These are all very clearly prescribed, and once we are able to follow that, in the beginning from at the Brahmachari stage and also at the Grihastha stage, we all will be contributing to the society. At the same time, through following the karma yoga lifestyle, we will be preparing ourselves for the spiritual path. Then at the Vanaprastha and the Sannyasi stage, we move away from the normal worldly affairs and dedicate ourselves totally to the spiritual path. At the Vanaprastha level, more time is spent on the upasana or dhyanam, and at sannyasa ashramam, one gets into sannyasa, goes to a guru, and shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, so that atma jnanam that gets. This is a clean way of living. Okay. Accordingly, the Kshatriya's job is, we have seen that it is the policing and administration and the tax collection. And Arjuna being the Kshatriya Kula, they all have to follow that. They are the one responsible for establishing smooth living of all other varnas, for which they have to make the facilitation. If there are certain adharmic people, they have to be taken care by the Kshatriyas. So that is the niyama. And Arjuna knows about all those things. Last class I even told Arjuna is one of the best example of the person following the Vedic dharma. Okay, and so he also knows that this yuddha they wanted to avoid, but in spite of their best effort, they couldn't able to prevent it, and finally it ended up in the Mahabharata war. And having come to the war, he saw that his own people are there on both the sides, and because of the empathy or karuna on people, he developed why should I kill them. The karuna is very important quality for any person. I told long back, there are certain things which ought to be go together. Anybody knows about it? The vidya should go along with vidya should go along vinayam. Okay? Then balam should go along with karuna. All those things are all ties which are to be followed. That also he knows very well. Okay? So then that karuna led him to a mental disposition where he started justifying, if we wage the war, many people are going to kill. Then the varna asked, the dharmas, kula dharmas, jati dharmas, all of them will be affected, and the kulastriyas are also will be affected. Not only that, even our forefathers will be deprived of the pinda and the udaka, and if Pandavas were to be responsible for that, then they will because they were responsible for that type of war, they will have to go to Naraka, and hence it is not advisable to go ahead with the war. That was the line of arguments to Bhagavan. Bhagavan never interferes with him. He lets Arjuna to talk on and on and on. He doesn't stop him at all, because that is the psychology of handling a person who is overwhelmed by grief. Okay? So in the 45th sloka, he is now declaring his position much more clearly. Okay. So here I wanted to say that we also in our day-to-day life will be coming across a conflict of dharma, and we have to resolve it with a very clear idea how to take care of these dharmas. But as we proceed, we know the karma yoga way of living automatically will help us to meet the requirement. Why that is required is because today the varna ashrama dharmas are not in vogue. Even if we want to follow that, the social system doesn't allow at all. Okay? Living in flat, living in such places, many of the Vedic dharma, Vedic karma, we won't be able to do on a day-to-day basis. Is it not so? So then, but at the same time, instead of totally not doing the Vedic karma, same Vedic karma as prescribed by Bhagavad Gita, all of us can do, irrespective of the age, irrespective of the varna, irrespective of the kula, all of us can. There is no bar on ladies, no bar on gents, no bar on any other people. Everybody can follow. It is in line with the Veda itself. That should be very clear. Okay? I hope everybody is very clear about it. If there are any doubt, you are welcome to ask me. Melapalama? Okay. I'll read the 45th one. One of you may repeat it 2 times. Aho badamahat papam.
Aho badam.
யாரோ ஒருத்தர் சொல்லுங்க.
अहो बत महत् पापम् अहो बत महत् पापम्
कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयम्
कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयं कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयं
यद्राज्यसुखलोभेन
यत्राज्यसुखलोभेन यत्राज्यसुखलोभेन
हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः
हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः
अहो बदमहत् पापं व्यवसिता वयं यद्राज्यसुखलोभेन हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः
अहो बत महत् पापं कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयं यद्राज्यसुखलोभेन हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः.
One way of simple anvayam is aho bada vayam mahat papam kartum vyavasitaha yat rajya suga lobena swajanam hantum udyataha. Okay, so two sentences are there. Aho bada is a idiomatic sentence. Alas, indeed it is very bad. Indeed it is not correct. Why? Vayam mahat papam kartum vyavasitaha. We are about to do a great papam. Okay, why? Because in the yuddha many people will be killed, and all the consequences of what has been so far said will happen, and we being responsible for that, we will be going to naraka. Okay, and here I wanted to say one thing. There are certain words which we normally use in our shastric way, and the equivalent of that in English always doesn't convey. For example, the papam, there is no equivalent word in Sanskrit at all, in English at all. The papam is translated as sin. Okay, the concept of sin is totally different. It is coming from their religious background, where the sin, what they call it as the original sin of Adam, Eva, etc. and all. The forbidden apple was eaten, and then etc. etc. So that being the first sin, whoever is born are sinners, and they address everybody as a sinners. Okay, so that is not correct at all. In our case, it is papam. Papam means a set of karmas which are done transgressing the dharma. Karmas which are not befitting. Karmas which are against dharma. That means basically this dharmas with respect to the samanya dharma. I told you there are two things are there: samanya dharma and vishesha dharma. Samanya dharma is applicable to everybody, and it is to be followed. That should not be sacrificed at any point. So it is to be followed by everyone. That is called, if somebody is making for a selfish reason a lie, if they were to say for a selfish gain, then that lie will be considered as a papa. Okay, then the effect of the papa as per our Shastra are twofold. One is there will be a Drishtapalam. That is, Drishtapalam means what immediately the consequences we will face within this life, and there also accrue onto the person an Adrishtapalam. Like in a bank account, some savings are put, this also goes to that person's account. It could be a Papa account or Punya account. If some good things are done, if helping somebody who are in need of it, if it is done, that is a Punya action. That also will give an immediate palam, drishta palam, and also future palam, which will be in our account. That will be the adrishta palam. So drishta, adrishta palam are all what is being taken into account. By this, each one of us are made responsible for our own present day action as well as the future, the result what we are going to get it. In other words, the adharmic action will give rise to a papa, which will be adrishtapalam. That adrishtapalam or papa will fructify as per the Ishvara's niyati, which we will see later. It will come as an impediment into the work that we have taken at that time. It will not be a conducive thing giving easy result. Okay? Or on the other hand, if a reach out karma is done, adrishtapalam punya will come. That punya palam will give a favorable situation in the endeavor we are there. That is how it is. Okay? So that is the punya and papam. That punya papam is unique to only the Sanatana Dharma. Because that accounts for also the next janma and next janma, all these are being properly accounted. In no other religion doesn't have the another birth at all. For them, all of them, only one single birth. So all those things are different. So this, what I want to say, this punya papa is a totally different from others, which makes ourself responsible for our action. Like the Newton's law, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay? So Arjuna then says that we are about to make a papa karma, a adharmic karma, which would result in a papa, which will make us end up in a naraka. Okay? Then that's what then he says we were forced to do that because yat rajya sukalopena swajanam hantum udyata. This has been prompted by their desire to have the rajyam and the pleasure that the rajyam, the kingdom will give. With that idea only we were to do this yuddha. He knows very well earlier that it is, I had told so many times, the Pandavas are not fighting for regaining their rajyam. That is not their idea. They are fighting to establish dharma in the society, because Duryodhanadis, they are all adharmic people. If they were to rule the country, they will perpetuate adharmic people only. Yatha raja tata praja. That is the idea. their intention is not selfish at all, but having come and then saw the people and got his confusion, he got it everything wrongly. In other words, he is looking at his adharma as dharma and dharma and adharma. There is a confusion which has happened to him. Okay. See, in other words also, as per the next line he is going to say, even if I were to be killed in the battle and then I remain without arming myself, then I would prefer to have the death, he said. That he is saying because in any battlefield, anybody is dying, the Shastra says they will go to Veera Swarga. They will go to Swarga, Veera Swarga. Adukku, there is a justification is there. We need to understand that is also as per the dharma. I have told earlier also, because these are all the dharma's intricacies which we need to understand. For example, Duryodhana and Arjuna, before the start of the war, they went to Krishna to take his help. Then Krishna said, either I come to one of you and all my army will come to the other person. Okay? That is, you know about its story. So then Arjuna wanted Krishna to be said, then all the Yadavas belong to Krishna, they all will go to the army of Duryodhana. Correct? Are you getting it? So what happened? The Yadava warriors are ordained by Krishna, you go and join the Duryodhana. All the Yadava people know that Duryodhana is an adharmic person. And joining him, they are helping adharmic person. Correct? So they could have refrained from doing it. Isn't it so? So everybody will justify, but it is not so. Because their boss has ordained them. You go and join. That means that is a finality. And they also know by going to the battlefield, if they get killed, they will go to Veera Swarga. They will go to Veera Swarga. Correct? So, there 2 points, important points are coming. That means when we are ordained by somebody to do a job which according to us is not directly, we are not directly supposed to do it, but because of the circumstances we are ordained by other person to do that, then we should do that. Okay, are you getting it? Even if that is going to be against our consciousness, we should be able to do it because it is a kartavyam karma. All kartavyam karma will end up in a punya for the people. Okay? So that is the idea behind it. Okay. Having said that, so Arjuna is in the confused state. இப்போ நம்ம நிறைய many of you would have worked in some office or in a private firm or even ஆத்துல இருக்கிற சமயத்துல or in interaction with the people other places, we all would have come across conflicting situation where we are compelled to do certain thing which we may not otherwise would like to do that. So those we all have to apply our mind in that condition. If it is a kartavyam karma and if it is not a selfish motivated, then it should be done. These two are important things. if it is a kartavyam karma which is going to benefit more number of people, or it is going to save somebody's life, or going to save somebody's way of working, then it should be done. Then it should be done. And if it is done with a selfish motive, then it is not advisable at all. Then it become a papam. For my selfish activity, even if though it is a kartavyam karma, if I am going to gain totally out of that action, then that should not be done. Okay? Okay. Shall I proceed? Any question?
Guruji, recording on பண்ணிருக்கேனா Guruji?
பண்ணிருக்கேனே. எல்லாரும் அந்த ஸ்பீக்கர் இது ரெட்டில் தானே இருக்கேன். பண்ணிருக்கேனா? திரும்ப பண்ணியாச்சு. ஓகே. சரி, I will read the 46th one. Somebody can repeat. यदि माम् अप्रतीकारम्
यदि माम् अप्रतीकारम्
अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः दार्धराष्ट्रारणे हन्तुः
दार्द्रराष्ट्रारणे हन्युः
तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत् यदि माम् अप्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः दार्धराष्ट्रारणे हन्युः तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत्.
यदि मामप्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः दार्द्रराष्ट्रारणे हन्युः तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत्.
Okay. The Anvayam is यदि माम् अशस्त्रम् अप्रतीकारम् शस्त्रपाणयः दार्धराष्ट्राः रणे हन्युः तत् मे क्षेमतरं भवेत्. यदि, if so, माम् अशस्त्रम् अप्रतीकारम् शस्त्रप्राणयः, if I remain without any weapon in the battlefield, and if the Dardarashtraha, that is the Duryodhana, Rane Anyuhu, they will continue to fight, they might kill me, then Tat me, that killing of me in the battlefield, Kshemataram Bhavet, it would be better. If I were to fight, I will be involved in killing so many people, and I will go to Narakam. If I get killed, then I will get Veera Swargam. This is the line of thinking. Okay? Is it correct or not?
It's not correct.
Actually,
because he has to protect the dharma, he has come. So his confusion is making him think like that. But he has to move forward and do his work. He cannot go back.
இப்ப நம்ம பார்த்த மாதிரி kshatriyanuக்கு this has become kartavyam dharma of establishing dharma in the society. Okay? And adila vandu second thing is there is no selfish motive at all. Gaining the rajyam is not their primary objective at all. So these two basics are all fulfilled. And him, his line of thinking, it is not correct. It stems out of the situational compulsion or him. That means basically there is an attachment to the relative. Because he saw in front of him his own great grandfather and his own guru. So he thought he was, because of the reverence to them, he said, how can I kill them? Okay? Killing a guru is one of the biggest dosha. Okay? So all those things, what would have been in mind was a confusion. So this confusion between what to do could also happen to us in an adverse situation. Okay? That is exactly what is happened. Then what is said, that having said that, he remained quiet. So now Sanjaya, actually this whole Mahabharata war, the Gita is the Sanjaya is reporting to Dhritarashtra. Okay? So in between he quotes Arjuna said, Bhagavan said, etc. Now Sanjaya is telling in the battlefield what is happening. Sanjaya uvacha evam Arjuna sankhye.
Sanjaya uvacha evam Arjuna sankhye. Sanjaya uvacha evam Arjuna sankhye.
Ratopastha upavishate.
Rathopastha upavishate. Rathopastha upavishate.
Visarjat sasharam chapam.
Visrijya sasharam chapam. Visrijya sasharam chapam.
Shokasamvigna manasaha.
Shokasamvigna manasaha. Shokasamvigna manasaha.
Sanjaya uvacha evam Arjuna sankhye ratopasthatva vishate visujjat shasharam chapam shokasamvigna manasaha.
Sanjaya uvacha evam Arjuna sankhye rathopastha upavishat visrijya sasharam chapam shokasamvigna manasaha.
Okay. The simple Anvayam will be Sankhye Shoka Samvignaha Manasaha Arjunaha Evam Uktva Shasharam Chapam Visujya Ratopaste Upavishate. Okay. Sankhye in the Ranabhumi, in the battlefield, Shoka Samvignaha Manasaha Arjunaha. Arjunanukku it is a adjective, the one who was overwhelmed by shoka, grief. What type of grief? That he has to kill his own people. Swajanam Hanya Hantum. That is the shokam. Correct தானே? நமக்கு நம்ம சேர்ந்தவாளுக்கு ஏதாவது உடம்பு சரியில்லைனாலே நமக்கு மனசு கஷ்டப்படும் இல்லையா? That's a good thing தானே? That is called the empathy. We pick up empathy if somebody near or dear to us is suffering from some problem, either monetary problem or problem with respect to health, etc. We pick up their shokam also. That's a good one. But that should not overwhelm and then put us into despair. We need to act proactively in that situation. Within our means, how we can help the person is what we have to see. That is the correct way of this thing. That is what later the Karma Yoga is going to teach. Okay? But Ipriyapata Arjunan Evam Muktva. Evam Muktva means what? Previous 46th sloka. Then he said, then I will not fight. That is what he said. I am not prepared to fight. Okay. Evam uktva, having said that, Sasaram chapam visurja. He abandoned his both kandibam as well as the arrows. Visurja means he just put them aside. Rathopaste upavishati. On the தேர் தட்டுல அவன் உட்கார்ந்துட்டான். He just sat there. He was sitting on a back seat. The front seat, the Bhagavan was driving it. Now he had from his seat he came down to the Ratha seat itself, lower seat itself. He remained seated over there. This is the Sanjaya reported to the Dhritarashtra. Okay, so with that the first chapter is getting over. So this first chapter is basically giving the Arjuna, the various people in the battlefield, and Arjuna seeing this both the side, and then his line of thinking and his decision not to fight is the overall thing of the first chapter. Okay. No, this always this in the tradition at the end of the chapter there is always a declaration will be there, which also we normally read it. It gives the context in which this is happening. Okay, I will read. Again, one of you may repeat it 2 times. Om Tat Sayati.
Om Tat Sayati.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su.
Upanishadsu.
Upanishadsu.
Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre.
Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre.
Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade.
Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade.
Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama.
Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama. Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama.
Prathamodhyayah.
Prathamodhyayah.
So this is how every chapter ends. Okay, and this is as per the tradition. It is not part of the Mahabharata, the episode at all. Vyasa has not made this. It is later in the tradition it has come into picture. So, and the Om Tat Sat, this is the word always used. Whenever something auspicious is there, it is said Om Tat Sat. Okay, Om always represents the Jagat Karanam Brahma, and it is a auspicious thing. Tat, that is Om. Tat means that refers to that Om or Bhagavan. Sat means the existing thing. We will see the details of that. Om Tat Sat always represent a Mangala Vakyam. Okay, and Om Tat Sat Idhi. This way, Sri Bhagavad Gita Shu, in the Bhagavad Gita. Why it is said Bhagavad Gita Su? It is Shashti Bahuvachanam or Saptami Bahuvachanam. Saptami Bahuvachanam. Okay. Ella motion recall paakren. Yen Bahuvachanathil solradhe? Bhagavad Gita is only one book. ஏன் அது வந்து பகவத் கீதா சு சொல்றது?
நிறைய சாப்டர்ஸ் இருக்கு அதனால
700 ஸ்லோகம் இருக்கு. எவ்ரி ஸ்லோகமும் இஸ் a கீதா only. Okay, so that is why it is said bhagavad gita su. In the bhagavad gita upanishad su, which is nothing but upanishad, vedantam. Why it is declared as upanishad su? enna adukku enna pramanam?
Upanishad tu. In the Upanishad Bhagavad Gita.
But it is Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita Upanishad.
வேதம் பிரமாணம் இருக்கு அதுக்கு.
It is Upanishad.
It is considered. It is also considered. சொல்லி நம்ம ஏன்னா பகவானே சொன்னாருங்கிறதுக்காக, பகவானே சொல்லி இருக்காருங்கிறதுக்காக, ஸ்வயம் பகவான்.
அதுக்கு பிரமாணம் எங்க இருக்கு?
வேதத்துல. நம்மளுக்கு வேதம் தானே குருஜி பிரமாணம்.
சரி,
கீதா தியான ஸ்லோகத்திலேயே இருக்கு. सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोक्ता गोपालनन्दनः. प्रमाणम for that.
Okay.
So that is why so உபநிஷத்துல என்ன சொல்லி இருக்கோ அதுதான் பகவத் கீதையிலும் சொல்லி இருக்கு. உபநிஷத்துல என்ன சொல்லி இருக்கு? ஆத்ம தத்துவத்தை புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ஆத்ம தத்துவத்தை புரிஞ்சிட்டா சோகமாகப்பட்ட இந்த சம்சார கடலிலிருந்து we will get released. That is the idea. We will our own ananda swarupata we will be able to know. That is the tatparyam of Upanishad, which is also the tatparyam of Bhagavad Gita. That is why Srimad Bhagavad Gita shu I will give more detail in why it is Sri, why it is Mat, Srimat, Sriyai udayade matu pratyaya. I will explain that and all next class. Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam, which is talking about Brahma Vidya, the Vidya which is about Brahma. Brahma Vidyayam is Brahmanaha Vidya. Okay, it is Shashti, but Dvitiyarthe Shashti. Brahmanaha Vidya naka Brahmanudaya Vidya illa, Brahmanai Patriya Vidya. So Shashti will come in the Dvitiyarthe. Okay, Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. This is also called Yoga Shastra, Karma Yoga Shastra. It is the one which is talking, which is teaching Brahma Vidya as well as how to get the Brahma Vidya. Adukku enna nama sadhana pannam, and the sadhana is called the Karma Yoga Shastra. So it's also Karma Yoga Shastre. That is also Saptami. Sri Krishnarjuna Samvade. It is a samvada discussion between Sri Krishna and Arjuna. Then the topic of this thing is Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama. This chapter's name is Arjuna Vishada Yoga Prathamodhyaya. The yoga ngiradhukku different meaning irukku. 100 different meanings are there. Contextually we have to understand. Yoga ngiradha ellathiyum sethi everything they will take it as a the yoga naka yuj daadilendru vandu sollite the normal yoga which are being talked about it. Is a normal yoga? Pranayamam, Pratyaharam, idella irukla, that will be taken as a yoga. So they consider this also is another yoga. How Vishada Yogam naka, Vishadam naka grief nartham. Arjununudaya grief. Arjununudaya grief ஆகப்பட்ட யோகா அப்படினாக்கா அது எப்படி யோகமாகும்? அது எப்படி பண்ண முடியும்? Grief பண்ண முடியுமா? So it is the topic of this chapter is Arjuna Vishada. That is the meaning. We will see it also in the thing. and it is the end of Pradhamodhyaya. That is the Pradhamodhyaya. Then the second chapter will start. I will give little more details about this final thing and proceed with the second chapter. As I said earlier, the second chapter 11th onwards, this thing main teaching. You have to summarize it. You have to send it to me one page. The same very important. Then only we can proceed on that. And incidentally, நான் வந்து சுவாமி பரமாத்மாவோட இந்த ஞான யோகா பத்தி ஒரு இது அனுப்பிச்சிருந்தேன். எல்லாம் கேட்டால என்ன தெரியாது கேட்டாலா? So that is also an introduction to introduction. So that's also is very good. அதிலையும் கேட்டதா சந்தேகம் இருந்தா எங்கிட்ட கேளுங்க. I don't mind talking about it. அவசியம் கேளுங்க. Okay?
குருஜி எனக்கு அதுல ஒரு டவுட் இருக்கு.
சொல்லுங்க.
செல்ஃப் நாலேஜ் வந்து கரெக்டா ரொம்ப அழகா வந்து சொல்லியிருந்தார். செல்ஃப் நாலேஜ்ங்கிறது தான் ரொம்ப முக்கியம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருந்தார். அத வந்து கடைசியா வந்து அந்த 4 பார்ட்டா அதை பிரிக்கிறார் இல்லையா? ஸ்தூல சரீரம், கான்ஃபரன்ஸ், அதெல்லாம் பிரிச்சு சொல்றார். இந்த 4th பாயிண்ட் இன்னும் கரெக்டா புரியல குருஜி. அந்த
ஆத்மானால ஆத்மாங்கிற வேர்டு நம்ம நான் சொல்றோம் இல்லையா? தட் இஸ் ஆத்மா. நான் இதை பண்ணேன் நான் அதை பண்ணேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம் இல்லையா? தட் நான் இஸ் ஆத்மா. பட் அந்த நானோட ஸ்வரூபம் இஸ் நாட் திஸ் ஸ்தூல தேகா, நாட் த சூக்ஷ்ம தேகா. It is the basic person who is nothing but Brahman. That Atma is Brahman. Adathaan solla poradhu. Adanaala Atma garala wait pannunga. We will go, we will see that. Any other doubt?
Snake example sollirundar adula.
Enadhu?
அந்த ஸ்னேக் எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்லியிருந்தார். ஸ்னேக் வந்து சட்டையை உடிச்சு போடுறது அது சொல்லியிருந்தார்.
எல்லாம் வரப்போறது, எல்லாம் செகண்ட் சாப்டர்ல வரப்போறது. நீங்க வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. ஓகே, வேற ஏதாவது இருக்கா? வேற ஒன்றும் எல்லாம் முடிச்சிருங்க.
दुर्जनः सज्जनो भूयात्, सज्जनः शान्तिमाप्नुयात्, शान्तो मुच्येत् बन्धेभ्यः, मुक्तश्चान्यान् विमोचयेत्. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः. गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं. लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. ओम शांति शांति शांति. धन्यवादः गुरुजी.
Okay, thank you all.